In the meantime, he's passing new regulations on Arctic drilling and signing commuting sentences all over the place. And I guess probably about the time that he took off for Hawaii, we had a rash of what appear to be terrorist attacks hitting Europe. They're certainly reacting to that over in Germany today as they search for answers as to why this happened. Is it a lone wolf attack? What do we have going on here? That's the question. How concerned do we need to be in America with the Christmas season and the other holidays upon us right now of something like this happening? Our guest, we get lots to get to this hour, by the way. We're going to have Carrie Lucas coming up from the Independent Women's Forum a little later. And I've got a gift pack to give away, a Mark Cox Show gift pack for you as well this hour. So be sure that you don't miss that. Right now, my guest is Daniel Greenfeld. He is Daniel, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you very much. I thought I heard the phone dialing. My apologies. Daniel is a Shillman journalism fellow at the Freedom Center. He's a New York writer. He focuses on the issue of radical Islam. And glad to have you with us on the show today. Thank you.
I'm really glad to be here, and we should absolutely be very concerned because this was not routine in Europe. It became routine in Europe to have these major terrorist attacks over the past 2 years. At this point, 2/3 of French people are just report being afraid of a terrorist attack over Christmas, and this is not the way to live. It's certainly not the way to go into Christmas, into New Year's. It's not the way to raise children expecting when is the next terrorist attack going to happen.
Very, very much so. I mentioned earlier that the front page of the Drudge Report this hour has a picture of Angela Merkel with blood on her hands and suggests that she has encouraged or at least welcomed in part of this problem with her refugee policies. Do you agree?
Absolutely. She opened the borders. She didn't just open the borders of Germany. She opened the borders of Europe. Floods of these people came in. Despite the claims that there were refugees, just about anybody was allowed in. Despite the claims they were being vetted, there was really no vetting. For example, in Greece, you just pretty much showed up and they had these Frontex people who were there for maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. Afterward, you were just sent on to the rest of Europe. And even if you actually had to pass some sort of examination, it was childishly easy to get past it. So Europe was filled with these people. Berlin was filled with these people. You've had thousands of German women who were sexually assaulted on New Year's Eve. You have this latest terror attack. You have multiple major attacks in France. And just really this kind of daily constant wave of crime, of attacks that doesn't make the headlines, that doesn't get reported, but it is very much destroying life for people.
I heard someone say earlier that effective January 20th, we'll be able to call Islamic terror what it is, because for now we have an administration that doesn't want to use that word for fear of causing bigger problems. I'm not quite sure we could have a bigger problem than we face with radical Islam at this point.
Well, the argument that they keep making is that if we say X or if we say Y, it's going to upset Muslims and it's going to make things even worse. This is a cowardly and defeatist attitude. It says that we should keep lying about what's going on because if we tell the truth, well, you never know what could actually happen. The only way we're going to deal with this is if we actually start telling the truth about what's going on.
I know that you have your own blog, right?
Yes, I do.
It is Sultan.
I work with the Freedom Center.
Okay, and with the Freedom Center, and on there you've got an article right now regarding Barack Obama and what he will do after he leaves the White House. What is your theory on that?
I think what he's always wanted to really be as being the community organizer in chief. In the recent months, he's been warning that he wasn't able to be the community organizer in chief while being in the White House. He had to do all this silly stuff like go to NATO briefings and be concerned about Syria. What he really wants to do is transform America and interest him more than foreign policy does. And once out of the White House, he has this huge operation. They own most of his online social media names. But really organizing for America is a big, major machine. They've been siphoning money from the Democratic Party for a while now. And what he would really like to do is basically control the Democratic Party and control the left.
Yeah, he's already been talking about what the party needs to do to regain power. I saw some of those comments the other day. We're talking to Daniel Greenfeld. Daniel, you were born in Israel. You now live in New York. I've often discussed on my show the policies of this administration and how that they have not been in the best interest of Israel or Benjamin Netanyahu, particularly when this president actively tried to get him out in the last election cycle. What are your hopes under a Trump administration for the relationship with Israel?
I would hope the relationship would improve. Specifically, this kind of clash that's been going on under Obama, it's happened under Bill Clinton, it's happened under some previous administration, is a situation where people in the State Department and our foreign policy experts blame Israel for Islamic terrorism. They say if Israel doesn't do this, if Israel wouldn't do this, they wouldn't be upsetting Muslim terrorists, they wouldn't be destabilizing the Middle East. Now, the Arab Spring conclusively disproved that nonsense. I mean, Syria is not in the middle of a civil war. Iraq is not in the middle of a civil war because of anything Israel does. But Muslim countries like Saudi Arabia find it very convenient to shift the blame to Israel instead of to their own financing of terrorism. I would really hope that a Trump administration is going to toss this nonsensical claim out the window, and that's going to pave the way for restoring relations between Israel and the United States. And it's going to be based on mutual alliance rather than on Israel upsetting the Muslims too much.
And it sounds like, if I read into what Donald Trump's been saying, he's looking to take a much more aggressive approach to ISIS and to terror where he sees it. I mean, I don't know if that means strike forces or what his plan is exactly, but what's your position on that? Have you given it much thought?
We clearly need to start thinking a bit out of the box as far as thinking on ISIS goes, and there's something that Israel certainly could help with. It's something that some of our allies who've been very much neglected under the Obama administration could help with. The Obama administration backed a Muslim Brotherhood takeover in Egypt when the people overthrew the Muslim Brotherhood. Egypt was very much shunned, so Obama illegally went to war in Libya. He overthrew the government there and installed basically a disastrous Islamic dictator. A bunch of militias. This is what led to Benghazi. The result is actually ISIS controls entire cities in Libya. Al-Qaeda controls huge areas in Libya and Egypt. The new Egyptian government, that was post-Muslim Brotherhood, has actually been trying to do something about Libya, and we've been blocking them. We haven't been working with them. And it's something that I would very much hope would change with Trump, because Trump has been very critical of the entire disaster in Libya.
Well, I tell you what, Daniel Greenfeld, I appreciate your time. Direct people, I know that you're a fellow at the Freedom Center. You've got your own blog. You do writing for Front Page Mag, and I appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you very much. I kept